was this, formed, the KTJN?
Sure. Before the adoption of the Constitution, the 2010 Constitution. So I think it was just around 2008, 2009. Yeah. Just after we'd gone through so PV had happened, and then there were the 3 commissions that emerged from Agenda 4, from the Peace Accord. So there was a WACI Commission, which was specifically on post-election violence. There was the Krichler Commission, which looked at our electoral practices and laws and gave recommendations on how we can amend that system for, to make sure to address some of the issues that led to the violence in the first place. And then the final one was supposed to be the TJRC. But as Agatha explained, there's a lot of politics involved because the scope was beyond 2007. It was like a history of injustices, I think, from independence, maybe 92 and subsequent election periods. So because of the scope, and there was a lot of politics involved. So then I think Agatha explained that's why the network was formed, to just support the TJRC process and make sure that it was, and to make sure that the government was accountable under that particular mechanism.
In your analysis, what do you think are any major achievements that the network has had?
So I came at the tail end. So at the point that I've joined the network, I think there's a lot of lethargy. I think people are a bit tired. But from the conversations I've had with people who are actually involved in the network when it was at its prime, I think they did influence a lot when it came to the TJRC. I think there's a lot of research and publications out on the challenges with truth commissions. So whether it's truth justice commissions or truth and reconciliation commissions, whatever iteration, but like truth commissions are generally political. So then what the decision of what is included and what is excluded is very intentional. So then there's always a possibility of perspectives being silenced because it's not of political importance. But I think the network was good at pushing back against that happening in the Kenya Commission, which, as you can imagine, was shrouded with a lot of politics. One of the key commissioners, Bethel Kiplagat, already at the point where his name was put forward, there were questions because he has been very complicit in a lot of human rights violations. And then now he was being tasked with investigating them. I think there were a lot of challenges there as well. But I think the network was good at keeping him and the commission on their toes, at focusing attention back on survivors of violence, including sexual violence, because the CPEV Commission, the WACI Commission, referenced sexual violence, but for a long time there's not a lot of attention paid to survivors of sexual violence, especially during elections. So I think they were good at that, at reminding people that as you're going about your politics, you need to remember the people that were affected.
True.
And for keeping the push for accountability going for as long as they did.
So what happened? Where did the rain start beating us?
Where did the rain start beating? So from what I heard Agatha say, at the point they now started to move forward with their implementation. So you've done all of this advocacy, you've done this awareness raising, you've pushed the Truth Commission, they've produced a report, even though parts of it are not public. At least there's something that people can refer to that is, as far as possible, reflective of the true reality. So now the next thing is to try and get, or to try and redress the injustices. And one of the ways to do that is reparations, including compensation or restitution, memorialization. So then, working with the Office of the Attorney General at the time, Professor Mugai, I think the network had a lot of influence and worked quite closely to ensure that, for example, there's a victims fund where reparations for victims was located. They developed a policy around the fund. So, like, what are the guiding principles? How do people access? Just like to operationalize the fund. They developed a policy and guidelines. And then Professor Mugai left because of politics, and his successor just made things a bit difficult. So I think after you fought for so long, you're so close to seeing fruition from the efforts that you've made, and then all of a sudden, because of politics, now you hit this brick wall. So nationally, you're not moving forward. And then I think also globally, priorities changed. I don't think conflict was any less, but I think in Kenya, it wasn't a donor priority.
So will I be right to say that most people pulled out when the AG then, Githu Muigai, also left?
Yeah, because the snowball effect of his leaving was that resourcing for the kind of work that they were doing was less, and not just financial. Like even the people, because if you know you're not getting anywhere, like what's the point? So I think that's, from what I understand, that's when falling off. A sort of exhaustion or frustration, because you're not moving forward anymore, even though for such a long time you've just been hitting all of these markers. And then on top of that, the funding that would keep people going also just sort of dissipated.
So why are you reviving this network as UTU WETU?
Because we're still in transit. So yes, it's been so many years after 2007. But the truth is, for most subsequent election cycles, there's violence. And sexual violence. So it's important for us as an organization to ensure accountability. And part of that includes relying on partnerships, networks, collective action to move this accountability efforts forward. And the truth is, at its height, I think KTJN was very effective. So if we are able to bring people together again, obviously it won't look the same. And I think we're reconstituting in a time where priorities have probably changed. The politics, national politics is different, global politics is different. I think we probably also need to sit down and reconsider what our vision, mission, and strategic objectives are. But ultimately, I think the power of that collective voice cannot be negated. We've seen some of the gains that the network has made in a very difficult time, because I think post 2007, 2008, while it was a period of hope, although artificially constructed, Agenda 4. But anyway, I think it was also a contentious time politically. So in that period, they were able to achieve all of these gains. I think a few years later, we are in a politically contentious time. I think emotions are quite high. There's a lot of frustration bubbling under. And in that respect, someone needs to ensure that if violence occurs, I'm hoping it doesn't, but history has shown us that it's likely, then someone can speak up for survivors and victims.
So does the future look promising, especially out of today's engagement, in your analysis?
It does. It looks different. I think the KTJN of the past is gone. I think this really big network, I'm not sure we'll be able to reconstitute that, or maybe we will, but I don't think so anytime soon. But I certainly do think with the organizations that are around or were around the table today, that there is a true passion and a commitment. And for that, I think I'm very hopeful. I'm also very hopeful that we will be successful, regardless of available resources, because I think the organizations around the table have also thought about innovative ways to achieve results without necessarily having a lot of resources at hand. And for that, I think we'll be impactful.